I will introduce you first. So I'm very privileged to have Erum here, and she's a lead data scientist at Omdena. And we are extremely sorry that we ran out of like a couple of minutes. We are late. And let me first introduce Erum before starting this session. So Erum is a data science and machine learning enthusiast speaker, mentor, and lead ML engineer. She has done an MS in information technology from NSUT, Islamabad, Pakistan, and is currently working in the same university as a media expert where she is guiding postgraduate students in research and in the field of educational technologies as a subject expert. She landed in the data science field after joining the project Anomaly Detection from the Surface of Mars with Deep Learning at Umdena in May 2019. It's a great privilege to have Erum here. Thank you, Erum. So let's start with your journey at data science before we dig into some of the problems that we would like to discuss with you. So how did you
Yeah,
start in? Yeah,
yeah, yeah.
please.
Sorry.
The
Thank you
stage
so
is
much.
yours.
All
Yeah.
right. Thank you so much. Yeah. So basically, if you see, I have BS degree in computer animation and graphics. So while I started developing multimedia content, I used to be like I used to tell my developer that are not exact resolution or exact composition of the graphic I have basically developed. So they used to complain, no, we are doing whatever you have developed. So I always had conflict with them, why you are not coding well. So that led me towards learning coding, and after learning coding, I got interest in doing in information technology. So I done my masters in information technology with data science and ontologies background. After my master degree, I started a job at National University of Sciences and Technology, where I basically worked with students in analyzing the project. Like if we are developing some multimedia content and application for kids, what impacts that application have on the children's life or in education. So that data analysis created interest in knowing more about data analysis tools and techniques, and then I landed in machine learning. So for machine learning, I did first a micro master from MIT, that was a distance learning micro master. At same time I joined Amdina, and I did 6 project of machine learning and AI based project, and those projects are related to solving real time issues and something like that. So uh, step by step I have been learning the things and sharing the things. So that's all
That's,
about my journey. Yeah.
yeah, that's great. So just share with us some of the most appealing projects which you have done, like using that. How did you solve that online, developing an online safe environment? That's the topic that we would be discussing today. So how did you use machine learning to develop a safe online environment for the e-commerce platform or whatever platform you develop?
Yeah, all right. So I have shared 2 links with you. Definitely, I will put them in at YouTube comment also, so you can have detail about the project also. So I haven't developed the complete project. That was one of the project we did with Save the Children from Omdina platform. So I was one of the collaborator. I lead one task that was identifying what are the reasons, like we are unable to provide safe environment to the children's.
Yeah.
During pandemic, most of the kids have exposure to internet, so everything was going through internet, their education, their gaming, their entertaining platform, because they were stuck in lockdown. So intruder basically took benefit, although they were doing that the similar thing before, but they took benefit of that period, and they start communicating kids from the game in game chat. For example, there are many games where you can communicate with the other player. So they started getting trust from the kids and start bringing them on social media platform, and then grooming them towards sharing nude pictures, something that is inappropriate, and trapping the kid. So our idea, what we did was that just identify what are the reasons like kids are being trapped by those intruder, and we basically analyzed that data set after developing the questionnaire, and then figured out the kids feel insecure. They want love from someone. They are not, they are not getting attention from their homes. So that's why they basically start talking to the person who is grooming themselves, and developing trust. So that was basically training them. And then we provided a solution, that link also I have shared with you. Like whenever someone is talking to other kids, so our chat code, our assistive application will basically trigger out, so that message could be sent to their parents or guardian, or also kids as well. Like that is not healthy discussion. That is you can say they are grooming your kid. And these personal information or these sort of information shouldn't be shared with with the home you are talking to.
Yeah, so how did you manage to get all those data? Means how did you manage to get the data so that you can model, and what kind of machine learning models did you use?
Okay, okay. Yeah, so data was, and still, like we have worked on so many such projects, like gender-based violence, online violence, and there are so many problems with online environment and these tools and applications, like social media tools and application. Data, unfortunately, data set is not available,
Mm-hmm.
because if someone posts something at Facebook, anyone can report that image or that information, and instantly that information is removed. And second thing is that such data is not publicly available, so we had issue of that too. So for chatbot, we collected data set of chat room. So if you remember, before invention of these social media applications like WhatsApp, Facebook Messenger, and Instagrams, people used to talk into chat room like Yahoo chat rooms and few other free chat rooms. There people used to uh, chat over there. So we luckily got a good data set from that chat room, because chat pattern used to be similar one. And then we basically converted that chat room into, like, we did a lot of work on that by converting those chat into what we can say conversations. We basically identified how many intruders were there, and
Okay.
were they linked together. For example, if there is one groomer and he is talking to five people, and the other groomer is talking to five other kids, so are these like groomer one and groomer two are in connection? So we found that like they are, like that is the network. They communicate with each other, and they groom the kids together. So we tagged the groomers, we tagged the conversations, and we tagged basically victim also manually. And then we developed the database just to sort out the data. So we were able to basically get insight from that database. We were able to see like how the network works and how groomers are connecting with those victims. Like for the chatbot, we basically trained the transformer. So transformer is a deep learning NLP algorithm that basically converts, like that is two-way communication. It's not one way. Like what the victim is talking to the groomer, and what are the replies of those groomers.
Yeah,
Yeah.
so apart from using deep learning, NLP based learning, any other things that you would like, you have used, you would like to share? Or like how did you make it, like is it a, only machine learning system, or you made it an online system, like it's end to end productionized systems that anytime the children would talk to such persons, you can get the data out of it, and you can say that where is the balance, or where is the such unique keywords happening, and you can track those data, track those cases.
Yeah. So unfortunately we couldn't we spent a lot of time. That was 8 week project, so 8 week were too less. We struggled a lot in collecting data set, and since the team was big in number, so we have explored many uh, you know uh, many branches. Like we collected research paper, we collected news article, we have probed the website. Like each safety website has a lot of content, for the kids. They can communicate or they can find the material from that website. So the data set was the biggest challenge, and we were unable. We worked only on the production side for last two weeks, and last 2 weeks were too less to complete, like provide end-to-end solution. Save the Children showed great interest in that, and they were willing to take it further, maybe in development, and probably they have done that. I haven't taken any update from that, because 60 collaborators have worked, uh, from different part of the world, so it becomes very hard, like making them to build a product. And 60 number is too much, like it's a high number to create a project or bringing that into actual business problem. Yeah. So that was just a prototype, and in future, if we got time, or if we got such collaboration, we can definitely take it to further level.
Yeah, so the NGOs will be one of the places where you can help them to work with children, prevent violence from children, right? Child
Yeah.
labor also could be one of the use cases where we can do that, right? So mainly based on
Yeah.
the textual terms, sensitive terms, we catch those, try to detect those, and try to predict the sentiments of the people who do the such kind of violence on children, right? If I understand it.
So basically, our major focus was just on online violence. We didn't basically go to child labor, or what you can say, a domestic violence sort of thing. So keywords were only, the platform that was specifically for the platform. And the platform, like we ended up the case, like platform are online games application and multi social media applications. So we scrapped more than 40,000 games, and basically analyzed comments of those games, like whether the game is risky or not. So we at that data set is also publicly available from Common Sense website. So Common Sense gaming website provides you rating of the games, like whether it's adventurous, whether it is entertaining, educational game, or whatever. So whatever the genre was, there is also a room for the groomer to communicate the kids. So we couldn't get basically private chat. We tried a lot, but we were unable to get that, because the time period was too short, and secondly, companies don't give you the data set, because that's the thing they are earning. The more there, they'll have the better market that would be. So none of the company were willing to provide us chat logs. So whatever we were doing were our own, you can say, intuitions, or whatever data set we collected. And as you asked for the tags, so tags were online violence, and there were few tags also provided from Save the Children, because Save the Children is the big organization, and they are
Yeah.
working on that for so long. So they have those terminologies, they have those specific words. For example, we might, people use slang also.
Mm-hmm.
So if we clean data set by default, so our NLP model always remove those slangs, because they don't understand that. So we have had to put them as a word. So whatever the keywords they provided us, we make them as a part of dictionary, so that we were able to
Okay.
analyze that, and the frequency of those words were very high. Otherwise we would lose that through normal NLP methods.
Okay. Any advanced model you got a chance to try out, like in the transformers, like GP2, GP3, or BERT, different versions of BERT?
We use BERT. We have not used GP2, etc. We did sentiment analysis on game dataset, but our focus was, to develop, basically to develop a working prototype. So for working prototype, we found like, instead of BERT, transformer is, the better uh, replacement of that, because that was a two-way communication, but was just, helping us out in sentence by sentence, you can say, prediction, and that wasn't useful because we were looking upon something that could basically help us out as a complete conversation, like what intruder is saying and what a victim is, replying. So that's why we fixed ourselves like just to use transformer. For practical purposes, we have checked many other model also, but we didn't bring them into, a production.
Yeah, that's great to hear. So any challenges you would like to say? Like sometimes you didn't find the words. That's one of the challenge I could understand. So other than that, did you face any other challenge in this use case?
So, the biggest challenge was data set. So, if machine learning, data science, and AI projects are always dependent on, the data set. So, we don't have data set, and we were unable to basically catch the actual hub of that victim. Like we were unable to collect data set from Facebook Messenger chat, in-game chat. So that was the data set was the major challenge, and we have been struggling a lot to collect the data. And second thing is that contextualizing the data set. So at that moment, we were basically that we were collecting data set globally, and then, building a model. But if you see, the world is divided region wise. So, the few norms which are considered as the victim in Asian countries might not be considered as a victim in, European countries, like, the way of communication. So that was the other thing which we should consider, but we couldn't do that, due to, lack of data set availability. So yeah, that was one of the major challenge. Yeah.
Any other use case you would like to discuss, that means how you have impacted the society? Means I'm just very much honored to see like how Umdena is helping out with social causes, like you work with Save the Children, and it's a very means very nice cause that we can use data science and machine learning for it. So we shouldn't think of that, how we can increase sales and volumes, and everywhere we are trying to use other in retail supply chain, but how it can create an impact in lives, actual people's life, and tracking down children, how they are abused, right? Tomorrow we can use for child
Right.
labor, finding out how childs are discriminated against, the rights that they receive. It's a very noble cause, I would say. So any other
Yeah,
use
I
case you would
agree.
discuss?
So, for we have many. I can talk, like, although I have been part of only 6 projects, but I'm so obliged. Like, whenever I want to see any case study, so uh, I have privilege to go to, and, go through any case study. So we have done almost 60 plus case study, and 20 plus are going on. So every month we launch 4 to 5 new case studies, and all of them, if not all, but most of them used to be solving real life problems. And so
Yeah,
the real life problems are different one, but most of them are, again, solving social problem. For example, we have done many case studies on, gender based violence, and, the violence at workplaces. Then we have, like, a digital gap, bridging digital gap. So that was one of the interesting case study where I also worked. So that was basically how, developing and underdeveloping countries are, troubling in accessing digital, digital communication devices, are, digital platforms. So believe me, I wasn't aware, like, it that there are country to country different policies for using those telecommunication devices and facilities. So that was one of the interesting project. We basically came to know, like, during this COVID period, there are many underdeveloping countries which still don't have any a network where they would able to communicate that. So they have not lost of education. They are totally disconnected from the world. So you see, in this technological advanced era, everyone have, the world has become global village, and everyone, we can access information of months in minutes or in hours. So if someone is, or even at individual level, or maybe at country or community level, is facing issue, they are so unprivileged. They are so back, and they might not able to learn about their basic rights, up grooming themselves, or taking themselves along with the world. And in that project, we also came to know about like my area was figuring out disabilities
Mm-hmm.
index, like the people with disabilities, like first if they have access to those digital devices, and then specialized devices, because they have at upper layer they need more customized devices to, for assistive purposes also, for example as aid, so that they can live their day to day life in better manner. And then also connecting with the world. uh, so it is
Yeah.
also, the situation is not really good.
Yeah, so let's take one question from the viewers like Vishwas Narayan who asked these questions. Like you talked about like a lot of use cases that Ondana is doing, and you are privileged to work in those use cases. So how do we find those use cases? Is it anywhere available that we can browse through the use cases and get to know?
So, frankly speaking, I'm really so as per my job responsibility, I am a full time employee, so I work over there. So, and I'm also teaching at various platforms. Like I'm attached to Women Who Code, I'm attached with Women AI Academy. I'm teaching at various places. So whenever you study something and you teach something, so you have a clean data set, you have everything ready made, and things go so smoothly,
Exactly.
you don't feel anything. So whenever I the things comes under like deploying those learned skill or knowledge. So at internet you always find a good case study where things go smoothly. But at Omdina, since we get real life case studies, so it would be challenging to implement those learned skill. So I may be like I know everything on fingertip, like I know about everything, but when it comes about application, it used to be a challenging, because that is a real time data set. It doesn't have the class divide as we get from already prepared data set. So to one major thing I used to be with Omdina is just to explore or implement that knowledge which I have learned. And I'm okay with theoretical perspective, but whenever I used to apply that knowledge in real life case studies, it used to be challenging, because data set is not in normal distribution. The data set is not available. Even availability data set is also a challenge. And many more cleaning data set, preparing data set, implementing models. So at every machine learning step we face many challenges. So
But
it
the
used to be
question is more
challenging.
around, if you can answer that question, is more around how do we find the use cases? Means I know you're a teacher, you can find out, you can talk to people, but for users who are people who are into the stream of machine learning, want to know how they can apply machine learning for creating social impact, like the one that save the children you're talking about. So how can we find out more those use cases where we can actually help these NGOs to use machine learning?
Okay, okay. All right. So basically, that if you are, if what I understood that, like, what is the source of getting those use cases, right?
Right, right, right.
Yeah. So there are many partner, like, there are many, like gender gap was from UNDP. So since that is official matter, I never been involved in getting those use cases. So if we have done 80 plus, so there are 80 different NGOs, different startups, different uh, communities who talk to Omdina team, and they, I don't know what is the process of uh, of their partnership, but they have everything described in their website. I'm sorry, I never been involved that in that process, but those use cases used to be from NGOs, startups most of the time.
Yeah, that's a wonderful thing, like, because startups are handling a lot of problems in today's world that can actually impact the society at large, right? So any other use case, like we talked about child violence, helping the people who are impacted the most, any domestic violence we have talked about, anything else especially in a different domain that's creating a social impact, would you like to talk about that?
So for apart from yeah, social impact used to be, one was uh, emotional intelligence, like how during COVID period, mostly people used to feel like that was a totally unexpected phase of everyone's life. So all of us were stuck at home, and there were like everyone, or if everyone, most of, no, not just everyone, most of the people have psychological impact also. So we have few case studies also where we basically analyzed. Though I wasn't part of those case studies, but those were how this COVID is affecting young people. How are they feeling, whether that is impacting them negatively or positively, how they are feel frustrated during this period, and what are the reason they are so frustrated, and what could they do that in that short period of time, whether they are using it in constructive manner, like upskilling themselves. Most of the people lost their jobs. So that was also another trauma for them. So we have few use cases for uh, those domains also. And then apart from these social issues, we have few use cases, for example energy saving mechanism, and then we have few use cases. Yeah, for example, one of my favorite case study is anomaly detection on the surface of Mars, like
Yeah, yeah, I would like to hear about more about this. Yeah, if you can explain, like, how did
yeah.
you collect the data from us, and how did you deal with the anomaly detection process? If you can enlighten us, that would be great, really great.
Yeah, I always that was one of my favorite case study also, and that uh, basically is associated with my childhood dream also. So whenever I used to talk about that case study, I used to say I was very young when I read from some newspaper, or uh, listen from TV news, whatever. I don't remember the resource, but I came to know like people have started buying land at Mars, and it is it is so expensive in some US dollars. And I calculated that US dollar into my like PKR, and then I just realized I'm not that rich. Like I could, if I could, buy the land over there. I so wanted to live over there, and that was one of my imagination since my childhood. I have watched almost all movies related to Mars. So that was my first project, and I was so happy, like I'm going to do research on that. And in back in my mind, we were doing probably that research with some university, but I was thinking that is the project of NASA. And I was thinking I can communicate with the people who are working at NASA, and they can give me a chance, like let's go to the Mars. So that was something funny, but I had that in my mind. So
Yes.
about
Mhm. How did you get the data and how what kind of
yeah.
knowledge?
So coming to towards the project, so basically, uh, our partner gave us to the link. So for NASA, we have a few websites from NASA that have satellite images, and anyone can download those images. So we from partner we got 2 to 3 websites, and we scrap the data set from those sites. So collection of data wasn't an issue, but we were given 7 different kind of anomalies, like spider was one of them, ejecta was another of them. Then there were few anomalies which they 7 kind of anomalies they have shown us, like this is the symbol, and this type of anomaly called spider, or something like that.
So what are
But
these
we
anomalies? These anomalies are in respect to what? Is it soil anomaly, temperature anomaly? What are these anomalies?
so
Yeah.
that was like a soil and anomaly, like whether like this land uh, is feasible for any kind of life. Like we were not discussing only human life, we were looking upon whether there are any signs of, you can say,
Mm-hmm.
water, or any sign of any plant, or maybe like human were not in our consideration, our air, or something. Those are necessities for life. So those were totally about the surface, and one kind of anomaly was meant to something like the sign of water or something like that. And the major challenge was that whenever you develop machine learning model, you always have one real life example, and then you replicate that, you train your machine on that. In case of uh, Mars project, we don't had any sample, so we created like that is our sample, and then we have trained our model on that. So we don't have anything, we whatever we created were our own creation. Like first developing the model, like these should like this should be our result, because in real time we don't have such things, we never came across such studies. uh, then we basically uh, created, you can say, 300 plus images, and made it like that is our sample, and we are going to train our model according to those 300 images. Apart
Yes.
from that, there were, yes, please go ahead.
Yeah. So the Mars data which you trained on, right? What kind of models did you use? It was all computer vision problem, or is it
That was
what kind
computer vision.
vision?
So
So
that
what are
was
what?
computer.
Yeah. Please go ahead.
So we have used basically again deep learning model over here. For example, fast AI were used, and we have used basically unit model were adopted. And over here again we basically deploy 3 4 models, but we pick one pipeline as a complete. So obviously you can't basically in 8 weeks you can't do everything. Machine learning and computer vision is also broader term. And when you don't have data set, and when you don't have any model in your mind, so we spend more than 4 weeks on data collection, preparation, and labeling also. So we have had to label every data set also. And
So is
then
it
we
semi-supervised problem? Is it was it a semi-supervised problem? So data was
It yeah,
the data
yeah.
was
That was not able. Yeah,
okay.
it
So
was like a
mhm.
few model were supervised learning model, like we had to basically label data set manually. Then at the end we basically we created one library that were able to basically download the data set from that site and then convert it into appropriate pre-process it also, because uh, there were issue with what you can say pre-processing also, because in Mars case study, when you collect data set from satellite, so it was not in square form, it was in circular form. So whenever you crop the circle, there used to be one black border. So if we don't crop that model, then it becomes one kind of anomaly. And if we were cropping the model, we were losing information about the image, like uh, uh, I don't know I'm able to understand it to you or not, but visually I can tell you better. For example, you can consider an image is rectangularly placed, but actually the image is in square. So the actual information is in rectangular format. So I need only that information, not only the information from side.
Okay.
So that we when we were basically rotating the image and bringing that into appropriate format, we were losing few information inside the image also.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so you have to take care that the
Yeah,
image, whatever information you're looking for, that is retained in the image before training the models, right?
yeah,
Yeah. So
exactly. So
so
i'm
when
i'm,
you're
I'm
using
going to share the link. I will share that link with you for if anyone would be interested to look upon that.
yeah, sure. So and one more question regarding this, right, is right, how you're getting those images, and what kind of did you use any kind of transfer learning, or is it plain deep learning, like you used any very well known yellow network, or what are the frameworks that you use for computer vision for machine learning?
So basically, we from computer vision, fast AI was one of the model we used, and we tried SST, that is single shot multi box detector
Sure.
algorithm, that is also one of the model. Other was like RCNN was also used,
RCS.
mask RCNN were you. Hello,
Yeah, yeah, I can hear you.
can you?
Mass arts. Yeah, yeah,
All
I
right.
can hear you. Yeah, I can hear you.
Then we used UNet also, and the final was Fast AI.
First year.
And Anugan was also used. At moment I am forgetting it, but we have used these 4 5 models.
Yeah. So, would you like to compare any models, like in your either in the children violence, or this use case? Which model gave you the better performance, and why? Means, what are the metrics that we were looking at?
So in although we struggled a lot in while using these model in deep learning and computer vision model, but that gives us that those model gave us most of the time 90 plus accuracy, and sometimes
Okay.
more of that. And that was, we were very happy like it is doing that. But there was another issue, because we have trained the model, so we don't have anything in realistic format. So whatever we prepared, it was comparing our model to that. So that was the greatest achievement. In initially we were like, if you see the data set, so once we scrapped our data set, we were unable to even decide whether we would able to pre-process it or not, because every single image has a lot of transformation problems. So we had to create algorithm for transformation, and the size of image were too heavy, and then bringing that into smaller format and then slicing it, and keeping every information like in the image
Mm-hmm.
as it is, because there were issue like if you have taken image of same land in morning time and in evening time, so data set was different, like it was showing information differently. And even the season also affected a lot, like if you are taking image in maybe like 1 month before, so structure of land was different as compared to taking two months later on. So these were so many you can say contextualized issue where we were unable to basically take help from machine learning or data science approaches.
Mm-hmm. That's really good. Any transfer learning mechanism you use because, other than entirely training the whole network, or you have to train the whole network?
So basically uh, we did not go towards transfer learning in that case, but we provide the project in a form like there we can say like at that point we can use transfer learning, and transfer learning in form of like R2 detection of those anomalies. We developed an algorithm too, so that would able to basically we can say like provide set of images so that the algorithm automatically detect the anomalies area and highlight them, instead like we use them manually. But we could not deploy that in you can say like the model was built, it was detecting the anomaly, it was like showing the anomaly areas, but there wasn't transfer learning in that project.
Okay. So both of these projects, I think, was using like it was a classification problem, right? That whether the children violence or this project, and you were looking at more on precision or recall for the anomalies or this child violence, whether how much violence is each child is undergoing. So what are the
So
metrics that?
for
Yeah.
this Mars anomaly, we use precision because in that case we were actually looking upon like we were more interested into precision. We had recall, we had calculated the recall, but our major metric was precision, because that was the surface, physical surface that was showing us something. So precision was the right metric to right evaluation metric for this kind of project. For
Uh,
Save the Children, we have not classified anything like how accurate our model is. So we have basically calculated the precision, recall, and even our major concern was what we can say accuracy, like accuracy of model, not the those metric, because ultimately we were training our chatbot. We were basically showing how accurate our model is in term of uh, identifying the chat is risky or not risky, right? So these like in these two project we have those metrics.
mhm, mhm. So what would you advise, like budding data scientists or even women to who want to really create an impact socially, like being responsible, building solutions that can impact lives of more not the privileged class, like the children who are suffering, right? Domestic violence, women who are suffering. So, what would you advise them if we want to actually intend to take up such projects like Omdena is doing, or we want to build our own expertise? What we should follow?
So apart from these all technologies, where we are lacking, for from my point of view or from my observation, I have worked with many women from all cultures, so they are facing same problem. So the first thing is that we are not well aware about our problems. right? And second thing is that if we are aware about that, we feel shy to communicate. So if there are domestic violence cases, so those used to happen in the classes, those don't have privilege to report it. So you can say, like, I don't have valid reports, but from my personal point of view, there are more than 60 to 70% cases which were never reported. uh,
Correct.
reg- yeah,
And
regardless the
add,
reason.
to add to that, with the pandemic, I think it has increased. The pandemic is seeing more domestic violences, right? So any
Yeah.
plans of taking up such projects, like how pandemic has affected domestic violence, and how AI can help in such cases?
Yeah, so I'm coming to that. I'm also available for that, basically to have assistive application. So from my understanding, instead of, you can't eradicate this thing at once. So first of all, we need to communicate the victim, like we need to educate the victim. So we don't have, I could never find out any website or any technology where I would able to basically report such thing with confidence, with confidence, like these things would be handled or taken care with whatever privacy level, or with whatever confidentiality I want. So there should be a platform, and it is not difficult thing. Building an application and assistive application wouldn't take much of time or much of resources. So first of all, we should have, we need to educate the victim, and then create the platform where they would able to, like, they feel secure. Most of the kids, even the women or victim, feel shy to discuss their problem even with their close, their parents, their
Families.
siblings, and
Yeah.
their friends too. And I have seen many cases, like, since I am teaching at university, I have gone through few suicide cases. And this came to in my knowledge, like the children used to be, like, university students are youngster, so they used to write their problem and putting them into, storing that up and putting them in the basket. So they couldn't get anything, for help. They couldn't feel any platform secure where they would able to basically discuss such things, and that cost their life. So life cost is, the greatest loss. So
Yeah.
we are lacking in those concepts. So if we start building that, and I'm hopeful we can contextualize into local language and for local communities also,
Mhm.
to start
Yeah.
building that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that would definitely help people to like feel more at home to communicate at all those things. And how you are running the solutions? By the way, it's very heavy. The mass problem with anomaly detection, or this child even chatbot. If you have so much data, where you using any cloud platform, or you are hosting in your native cloud?
So we have we since Omdina is a big organization, so we have cloud platform at almost every services. So we have many tools and services. For example, we have Google Cloud subscription, we have Azure Cloud subscription, we have AWS Cloud subscription. So if most of the time collaborators are from different domains, so they have their own, a good system. They normally use them locally, and once the product is in good shape, so they upload that to that cloud. And if they don't have any space, they ask, like, they can ask for any type of resources, and Omnina provides. And if that is not available, they still, uh, and if it is very necessary, they used to willing to buy that too. So for cloud or space or services, there is no issue for that.
Yeah, and that means some of the projects that you really talked about is very new to me, because I've never got chance to work on social platforms, social causes. So how do you add like interpretability to such use cases? Means do you incorporate like explainability tools like Lime or Shapely, or you have built your own ways of interpretation, like how, why it is happening, why say this child is abused, and what are the reasons for that. Well, adding explainability, these are the anomalies, and why it is anomalous in terms of what are the features that are responsible for it. So that would I would like to hear from you.
Yeah, that's really amazing domain also, and I just have started learning about that too. In Omdina, we didn't face such things like that, explainability or interpretability, because organization send us protocols, rules, and those standards. So we don't violate that. So in that case, the feature and everything, even in mass anomaly detection, we have documented 7 anomalies. So we didn't go for explainability. So explainability comes when you start very new project and you don't have guideline and you don't have such things. So for save the children even, and for those even we have they have provided us regions, like these are the countries where such things are happening more frequently, because they have already data set, they have their huge network working in every country at country level, at local level also. So in those cases we have not faced that. And luckily I have worked with all the in the project where these big companies were involved, so we haven't done that. In other project there could be an issue, but since I don't have any knowledge, so I can't comment on that. And that is you have basically issued really great problem, and that is what we are discussing nowadays. Like machine learning is everywhere, but there is no accountability, and there is no ethical AI and explainability, so we need to keep a check on that too. So yeah.
Yeah, that's great. That's great. Any other insights that you would like to share? Means I have asked you almost anything. We can keep on discussing different use cases. Means it's very unique what things you have worked on. But anything unique you would like to talk about, or any unique advice you would like to give to budding data scientists? Please go ahead.
All right. So, I'm still learning. So, but what I can tell everyone about, like myself or anyone who want to learn, like, once you want to learn anything, for example, if you see, I have my bachelor degree in computer arts. So, computer arts, and now I am basically switched towards data science, and now I am basically figuring out a specific domain. So let me explain you an interesting thing. So a few days back, one of a community in Pakistan contacted me, and they given me 4 topics for a talk at really good platform. And one of the topic was like data science is not for everyone. Everyone should not go after that. And I was so surprised on that. Like it shouldn't be case. Like I disagree on that. Data science is for everyone, and everyone should learn about that. It's not only like mathematics, it's not only learning machine learning, it's about getting inside. Nowadays we are playing with data, and unless until we are not aware what is this data about and how we can get benefit from that, we can't do any business, like whether it is marketing, whether it is a healthcare, whether it is yeah, social issues. So if I don't know like how many children are being abused every day in my country, or even my region, or even in my city, so I might not able to help those children. Or even if I don't know how many women are being domestically violated, or officially at workplace being abused, I might not able to help them out. So now data science has become necessity, and it is being encapsulated. Like you can see there are many algorithms which are already available, like Google's algorithm, MIT's algorithm, Stanford's deep learning algorithm. So you don't need to write every single line of code, you need to have concept. And once you are clear with that, you can apply that. Not maybe an official job, just do that for whatever the topic you are interested to get insight on the topic.
That's
Yeah.
wonderful. Means it's amazing, enlightening
Mhm.
us on this such important issues. How women get domestic violence. Especially, I see the pandemic. The numbers have gone very high up, right? So if we
Definitely.
can help with data science, we can at least predict, and we can estimate who is getting most impacted. We can take necessary actions and to help them. Even in organizations, there are policies to help women so that they can also thrive, right? Because some
Exactly.
many ways women are abused, women, child, or even the minorities get abused. So if we can incorporate also ethical AI into that, I'm sure it's going to create a huge impact. So thank you,
Exactly.
Erum, so much for enlightening us, and thanks for your time, and thanks for agreeing to come here. We just started a bit late, but I would like to sincerely thank you, and would like to invite you next in future sessions. Also, you will give definitely throw us light on some of the unique use cases that you have solved.
For sure. I also, I love to talk on these topics, and it was pleasure talking to you and discussing whatever we have done. Probably in future we'll have more use cases, and I will come up like I wasn't prepared much about specific use cases. So next time I can bring more use cases where I haven't even worked.
Yeah, that's really great. So thank you so
You're
much.
welcome. You're
Thank you.
welcome. Always
Thank
welcome.
you.
Thank
So
you.
let's end today's talk here. Thank you.
Welcome.